Hi, this is Gwen. Today is January the 10th at 12:42 a.m. and the year is 2026. I'm going to make about 3 videos right quick, or rather maybe two, and I'm going to try to get us on the same page about some of the things that we need to talk about. And I'm going to half-ass do it because I don't want to dig in too much, and prepare too much because I'd rather do it kind of spontaneous. Um, The it first one is going to be about the different realities that we're living in. The second one is going to be about our brain filter, how our mind works, and how we're not seeing everything that's going on because our brain isn't designed to show it to us. It's got another agenda. And the other one is going to be about the new black religion that I think we should look at. And I'm calling it the religion of melanin. And I'll get more into it. But first, each one of these are equally important, but I want to put them in sequence so I can make sure that we got the right mindset to absorb new information. Because right now, this is going to be for us to get back on track about what we need to be doing for ourselves and each other. So, but first we got to get in the same reality, or at least understand that we're talking about different realities. Now, there's this old saying, old puzzle that, let me think. If a tree falls in a desert or in the woods and if there's nobody there to hear it, does it make a sound? And the way somebody would answer it would be based on how they perceive reality. The question is, the real question is reality dependent on whether you're thinking of it or whether you acknowledge it, or is it independent of what you think? There's a school of thought and people who are serious who actually believe that if they don't perceive it, then it don't exist. And they would say something like, I know everything in the world because if I don't know it, it don't exist because it's not in their mind. So and if you think like that, then somebody telling you that something is independent of your mind and exists outside of your mind, whether you think about it or not, y'all not going to be living in the same reality. So that's why I got that up there. Perception of reality is it independent of the mind or is it dependent of the mind? We're going to be coming back to that over and over again throughout this discussion. But first, let's talk about where we start. Now, I got this image up here. This I did it in paint. It's a cute little thing. What is that? I did it badly, but what is it? And put it in your mind. Just hold that thought. Now, if I showed you a photograph of one of them, let me see. I'm going to put in here. Pretend like you don't see me press this search engine here. Now, if I showed you one of these, I'm trying to see imagery there. Images. Now, if I showed you something like that, these big green things, no thanks. One of these big old green things, what is that? What is that right now that you're looking at? What is that? And I'm going to come out of that. Okay, if I point it to this one, what is it? This right there, what is that? The reason why I'm asking you that is because most people would say tree. They would tell you that that was a tree, but in fact it's not. That is not a tree. And I don't know how to get this off my screen. Hold on a second. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's not a tree, nor is this. This is just a drawing. This is a computerized drawing. That is not a tree. That's a computerized drawing on a screen that you're seeing third screen on your computer screen in front of your computer. That's all you're seeing is a digitized pixels. You are not seeing a tree. You're seeing a little cartoon drawing of something that we perceive, that we think of. That's a concept of a tree. It is not a tree. When I showed you those photographs, that is not a tree. That is a concept that you thought of, that's in your head, that the person took a picture of and digitized it and put it on your screen, and then I put it on the screen, and then you looked at that, and then you perceived that to be a tree. I mean, you perceive that to be a tree, but that's still a thing in your head. That's not the real tree. If I wrote the word TREE, that is not a tree. That is a symbol for the concept of a tree. The only thing that's real, that's a tree, is if you go outside, stand in front of one, the brown thing with the leaves, and it's in front of you. That's the real tree. But if you think about the tree, that is not the tree. That's your thought. Okay? That's what's different. Your thought. So you gotta. What I'm saying is separate a thought or a concept from the real thing, because the real thing is independent of whether you're thinking about it. If you consider what you're thinking about independent of the real thing. And yeah, I said that right. It just sounds stupid. But bear with me. So I sampled, so I'm starting off with that sample of the tree as a concept versus a reality. Now, the next thing we need to talk about, and I'm going to jump down here to language. Language is just a series of symbols that human beings made so they can be on the same page to be able to talk about their concept and communicate it to other people. So you could be painting, you could be drawing, you could be speaking words, you can do 1,000 things, even sign language, music. Whatever's in your head, if you want to communicate it out to other people, then you have to communicate your concept out, and you have to use some kind of symbol, some kind of words. So yeah, symbol, words, whatever symbol you use, medium of communication. Okay. The reason why I keep talking about concept versus reality is that back to this thing up here, whether it's independent of the mind, is because we're communicating with different kinds of people thinking different ways. There's a group of people that think that is dependent on the mind. But if you're somebody who thinks that it's independent of the mind, then you're not going to be dealing in the same reality, because these people, the people who think that it's dependent on the mind, it's in their head. You're arguing, or they are arguing things that they think about, and they are fighting hard for a thought or a concept. They have wars for concept. An example that I would say in modern times would be Bush v. Gore during that voting thing way back when. The people who cast their vote said that they voted, but the people who count the votes said that they didn't have the votes. The vote was dependent on the counter who counted it versus the people who cast it. That's two different realities. The person who cast a vote said they voted for X, Y, and Z, but the people who counted votes said they didn't get votes for X, Y, and Z, because they said the votes were incorrect, of course. But the people who cast them said yes, they were. They were good to go. Might be a bad example, but that is an example of what I mean by different realities when they're talking about dependent on reality versus, I mean, dependent on your mind versus not dependent on the mind. You got people who are arguing something. It's like two people arguing about the color of the sky, but neither one of them wants to look up at the sky. So look at independent of the mind versus dependent of the mind. And as I think more about it, I'm going to expand on it, so because I want to keep this fast. The other thing I want to do is talk about the brain filter. And that's all I got right there. This is to let you know, or at least get on the same page about how our brain is designed for a biological unit, us people, and it's a spiritual stuff, so bear with me. It's not letting us perceive all the information that's coming to us. Our eyes might see it, but our brain will filter it out so we can't see it. And what I'm wanting us to do is to open up our brain a little bit to expand on the reality that's actually going on sometimes. So try to listen carefully and look around and really let some new kind of thinking come into your mind, because I'm noticing that we're filtering out stuff that we should be listening to. Like, it never should have been taking us this long to come to the conclusion that it's good to be separate, but our brains wouldn't let us hear it. And now, after all these years, a lot of people are just now getting on board, but they wouldn't let that come into their mind. And some of the horrors and things that we're seeing, we still got people who won't let that go into their brain because they keep filtering it out. And we can't afford that anymore. So this lesson, these topics are going to be about all hands on deck for the forward motion of the black community, that is the dependents, descendants of enslaved Africans in America. Okay, that's pretty fast. This is going pretty fast. I'm gonna go ahead and toss in my third topic if I can. I like this. Okay, I'm gonna go. Maybe I'm not being in depth enough, but yeah, there. And this is the final topic: the religion of melanin. Um, this is gonna be tough, and it's gonna take longer. When we're talking about the nothingness and the somethingness. When we think about creation, we're in all of that. We're thinking about the sun, the moon, the stars, and all of that. But actually, it's everything, all of it, including the void. Excuse me, like a black hole. That's something. The outer space is something. Everything out there is something. The default condition, though, is nothing. No thing. Nothing. And this is something that we can't picture because our brains aren't designed for it. None of us can, the brain isn't designed to picture something that doesn't exist. So we can theorize it, but we can't picture it. But as as you think about it, each time you think about what's here, then think about what was here before that. And keep on going till you get to nothing that you can't picture, of course. But that nothing was before even the creator was born, or the creator created itself. That's the nothing. So when you think about outer space, that's a something. That's a something. That's a part of the something. When you think about everything out there, whether it's living or dead, that's all a part of existence, even where it never lived. Okay? Nothing existing is the default condition of everything. We don't even have words for it. We can't even speak in terms of a concept of it because our words don't even talk about nothing. We have to negate it to make it be a nothing, like no thing. That means nothing because a thing is still a positive. So we have to negate the positive and call it a no thing. And if we say nothingness, then that's a state of no thing. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up because it ties into racism and supremacy. But racism and supremacy is bigger than this, bigger than what we're thinking about as we live it. Before there is a nothing, which is a default condition, none of us should be existing. That's big. Reality should never have happened. We shouldn't be here. And everything and everybody alive is a rebel, because this right here is the default condition. And it's trying to pull us back. It wants to return to the state of no things. But us who are living and insisting on living and existing, we are rebelling against it. And everybody that's alive right now are avatars of the Creator and the Creator's will. Before we can return to the nothing, though, we've got to have this one little phase happen. And that's where we are now. Destruction. It's 3 steps. Before we can go back to the nothingness, we have to be destroyed. And then we have to be in nothingness. Racism and all of that stuff is all about destruction. Beating up the earth, beating up people. These are the children of the avatars of destruction that are making that happen. We are the rebels, and we are the avatars of creation, or at least the people who want to live and who want to exist and be in the world. How how does that happen? What's going on? How did something, how did nothing become a something? Most religions have a creation story, and they are eerily similar. Just like they even have being of destruction, and they're eerily similar. The first thing first, our brain can't conceive of what the Creator is. So all the names that we want to call it that work for us, fine. And I'm grateful for His patience with us as we try to put it in terms we can understand. But that's all we're doing. We um, don't have we have a lot of gall, but to try to name it or describe it, but we have to, because that's how we think, and that's how we have to conceive of things. That's how our brain works. But its existence and what is going on with it is in no way limited to what we think. It is not limited to what we think or what we believe. That's only for us, okay? So when I talk about the Creator, I'm talking about the being that's all the way, that lived, that birthed itself out of the nothingness. It did, it had to, because before there was a something, there had to be a nothing. That's pure logic, pure science. Nothing can come out of, something can't come out of nothing unless something willed it, though. And that's how it started. Now it's beyond me to figure out how the will of it thing happened, but I know that it had to want to exist for it to happen. So the word will I'm using with a capital W, because that is the will, the want, the desire, and the impetus to create itself. And so when I say we're avatars of the Creator, it's because we are alive. We exist. And so to exist, we have that will too. The will to exist is what's the nothingness won't stop. So it's doing everything with its avatars to make people who exist miserable. And that's what racism is. It wants the misery. It wants people to stop wanting to exist. It wants to beat you down and make you so hopeless that you don't want to live, that you want to commit suicide, or you lose the will to live, and thus the will to exist. And the more they can do that and make you not want to exist, then the weaker the will of the Creator is. And that's how they can lure you back to the nothingness, because if you don't want to be something, and you just no longer want to exist, then you're destroyed and you're back in the fold of nothingness, and you're gone. So they'll beat you down. They will try to make you lose all hope, make you hopeless, poor, hungry, um, no future. Everything they can do to make you miserable. This has been going on for about 600 years. I mean, 6,000 years, really. Been going on for 6,000 years since certain group of people, the avatars of destruction, met us. And they are deeply offended when we are still laughing and singing and dancing and still getting our work done, but we refuse to let our joy go. There are people who have seminars about black joy. Our joy is because we are glad to see you alive and we are glad to be alive. That's all that is. We are happy to see other living faces. We are the avatars of creation. Of course, we like seeing other faces. We're happy that you exist. We don't want you to go. And we are in the war. We are warriors. When we laugh and having our good time, we are at the war fighting against the nothingness. And we're gonna be fighting. That's our whole war. Fighting against the nothingness for all eternity. That's our job. So that's the new black religion. And the reason why I'm calling it black and melanin is because of outer space. The face of the creator is the face of outer space. We see the creator's face every night. That's where we came from. When we look up at the sky, the black night sky, that's the creator. That we're made of that. Now, as far as this being conscious, okay, let me give you an example. There's phrase, if you ever see something die that's not alive, that was living and you watch him die. Like I had a puppy that died in my arms. Something had happened to it, and we picked him up and he was still alive. But then about 15 or 20 minutes, it seemed like 15, 20 minutes, I was a little girl, and suddenly I could see his life leaving his eyes. It was devastating. No, no, and I really shouldn't have seen that. I'm still traumatized. I saw the light go. So I've seen that up close. There was something inside that puppy that was alive, and I saw it leave. People who work in life or death kind of situations like EMS or the military or things where they have to live and deal with people living and dying in front of them, they talk about life leaving somebody's eyes. You can see it. That's the part of you that's alive, that's invisible. And it's more alive than the lump of flesh on you that's left behind. Because this thing that leaves that you can't see is still present. I mean, it's present when it was present when it's in you, and that's what animated you. But when it left, you were gone. Okay? So it is very easy to believe and understand that the Creator is also conscious and invisible and very much alive and intelligent. So it's not a big stretch for me to believe that something outside of me is very much alive and well and living and thinking, because life is even stronger outside of your body. And which is why I laugh, because the brain filter is filtering out all that stuff that's letting you see life outside, the invisible life that's outside of this physical body, but it's still there. Our job at this level is to learn something and solidify existence and live in our existence so that we won't fall to the destruction or to the will of people who want to destroy creation, or the will of entities that want to destroy creation. Why do I keep calling them avatars of destruction? Because even though creation had its own will, the counterpart was created at the same time. Just like East is created at the same time as west. Up is created at the same time as down. So creation had, so destruction had to be created at the same time as uh, um, creation. That's all that means. So we talked about life outside of you that you can see or not see, but you know exist. Um, I can give you another example. You want me to give you another example? I give you another example. Okay, you walking down the street and you feel somebody looking at you, and you turn around, look dead in their face. That's energy, mental energy that shot from your mind, from their mind to yours, and you knew that they were looking at you when you felt it with no physical contact. So there's always that. That's life outside of you. That's energy outside of you. Okay, that happens. So, um, the religion of melanin is the black in the sky, and that's part of us. That's all that is. Okay, so our job is to be warriors for the will of creation. Don't fall prey to the will of destruction, and keep going forward. This series of videos that I'm going to do is about being black first and black only. hmm Black first and black only. And there are other people in the world, I get it and all that, but it's got to be, yeah, they got to prove themselves to me. And I want them to have to prove themselves to you, because I want all of us on the same page going forward. And this is about the black family, mother, father, child, going forward for eternity. For as long as this planet is here, us on it, thriving and living well and enjoying life. Everybody. Okay, that's enough talking now, and I'm gonna pick up with some other things that we need to discuss a little bit later. Um, yeah, that's all I can. That's all we got. That's enough for now. Okay, thanks for listening to me. Glad we had this talk. All right then. Bye bye.